All right, let's roll it, folks. What is going on? Give it a minute, see who shows. Hopefully. Even if I got to shut my computer down, or not my computer, my camera down, I can get this to stream half-ass decent. Yeah, it looks like the connection. I don't know. But it looks like the connection might be all right. Maybe we'll see. Either way, I'm going live. Whoever should. Now, I just caught this. I was been busy and hadn't been able to watch this end of it. But apparently, Tom Cotton put in a bill or resolution or something, or introduced one to overturn the commutation from Biden of damn near everybody on death row. And this is the kind of debate over this part of the bill. And I just kind of breezed through some of it. It's kind of crazy to watch. Colt, what is up, brother, man? And thank you to everybody, man, showing up to the chat, watching all or listening for me listening to the Hegseth stuff today. Said I was listening to like a couple other times, man. I'm listening to it in the background. I'd rather at least have a chat function with you guys to kind of dull the insanity. So teaching and doing the thing, and then when I can walk away for a second and catch up on chat and just say hey or catch everybody's remarks is always cool. Let's see something. All right. So I'll tell you what. Do I? It's been a day. I had a couple things just kind of throw my ass completely off the rails for a second. Which one? Is it? Dude, Warsaw, it should be legal. It's people are going to do what they do. I'm not a huge fan of the vice crimes. At least if women knew they weren't going to get arrested for it, they might not be underneath some John who's beating the shit out of them and taking all their money. Maybe they could get I don't know, healthcare fucking insurance. I don't know. Funny how I said that though. Kind of works. Oh, there's negative outcomes to it all. But let's face it, prostitution is the oldest business on this planet, oldest profession. But yeah, the criminal underworld, yeah, take it away from them. People are going to do it anyway. Take it away from them. It's no different than with drugs. Is there going to be an initial shock to the system for it? Yeah, but it'll level out. Hell, whorehouses were never raided in the early part of man's history. Well, not by law enforcement. Let me look up something real fast while I'm thinking about it. Because I just want to. All right, so they were. Hold on. Let me look at this because this might give me a. Yeah, well, just earlier today, I was streaming more for chat, or to be able to just be in chat with everybody. Let me pin that up. There we go. Because I was listening to that hearing, but I was at work, so. Oh yeah, man. Look, and I know this is kind of off the beaten path on this one, but there's prostitution. There's always been prostitution. There's always going to be prostitution. Live life. What's up, my brother? Hey, let me know if my voice sounds okay. I'm on one of my wireless earbuds because I want to be able to run into the kitchen and go stir the pot, and not proverbially this time. All right, this is. Hold on, that one doesn't give me the number of commutations. So for those of you that don't know or haven't heard, Biden went in his pardons on his way out the damn door, pardoned just about everybody on death row. Now, and I'll get to it in a second because I have my own issues. All right, so I mean, this is federal. This isn't everybody on state death rows. But Biden announced he's commuting the sentences of 37 individuals on federal death row. So it was 37 people. I think that left effectively 3 people on federal death row. Let me catch up with everybody real fast. Lightning Scott, my brother. What is up? Brother Tread, what's happening? Run Gun Bingus, my brother. So 37 people convicted and sentenced to the federal death penalty. He commutes sentences. Now, Tom Cotton, I guess, introduced a bill of resolution to try and overturn those commutations. Now, when they commute the sentence, he commuted them to life in prison. So these guys aren't going to be anywhere out on the street. They're still going to live in a cage the rest of their life. And I'm pretty much cool with that because life in prison for the rest of your life is way more inhumane than putting someone down. So humans were not meant to live in cages. When you stick humans in cages, you can take someone who's already a violent, absolute piece of shit, and, well, they become absolutely even more violent and a bigger piece of shit. There's living, which I wasn't in a damn, 10 by 10 cell. I was in a big ass open dorm, but still, it is not something that. Let's see. Let's swap these out. All right, so let's see. Let me fire this up because we're going to watch this. And Mr. Dickie Durbin has a issue with this. And what you'll see with Dick Durbin, he's completely fine with commuting the death sentences of these people, except for 3. The Boston Marathon bomber and 2 others. I can't remember which the other 2 were. But yeah, didn't commute their death sentence. So apparently his stance on the death penalty isn't no person deserves to get murdered at the hands of the state or killed at the hands of the state in this case. It's just the ones that don't, draw that much political fire. If he was against the death penalty, he would be supporting Biden commuting all the sentences. Yeah, the Charleston's church killer. Yep, that's who it was.
Controlled crime, international humiliation, and now on the way out of his failed and scandal-plagued presidency, he's showering gifts and favors on some of the most depraved human beings. It started last month with Hunter Biden pardoning his own son, not just for the crimes he was convicted and pleaded guilty to, but for all crimes that he may have committed. Lord only knows what Joe Biden was trying to cover up.
You ain't wrong there.
When he issued 1,500 blanket commutations for criminals whose records, by his own aide's admission, he did not review, whose victims he did not consider.
Okay, I got to pause right there for a second. So, and I'll look it up at some point and make sure. But I believe that Joe Biden has done the most commutations, pardons of any other president in history on his way out the door. Oh yeah, dude, Warsaw, I'd like to have thrown my fucking phone, and we might watch that clip, but I damn near threw my fucking phone when I saw that last night, because I was listening or watching kind of in and out, but I was listening to it, so I didn't. But yeah, we're gonna give each one of these in the California fire $770. Are you what? You can't stay in a hotel room for 2 nights around that place for that much money. You can't buy a couple days groceries down there for that much money. It's mind-blowing.
An affront to the pardon process envisioned by our founders, which was intended to correct specific and limited errors in the criminal justice system. Among the beneficiaries of these commutations was a corrupt judge who sent hundreds of kids to jail for bribes. Yes, a judge took bribes to imprison children. The victims of the so-called Kids for Cash judge included a young man who... I gotta touch on that one too. I gotta let it play, but I gotta touch on that one too. In case you guys hadn't heard of this, there was a judge who, all the kids who came through his courtroom, he was slamming with the highest sentence possible. He was feeding the prisons, the juvie facilities and all that, and he was making a kickback off of money that state funds to house and all that. So he'd have some kid coming here for a minor crime. He would make sure that kid got sentenced at the highest level. Something that should have been a first offender. Okay, you go home, you learn how to have some fucking manners and play nice. Nope. Everything maxed out across the board because he was getting kickbacks on it. He was making money. Blue, you're absolutely right. Not a nickel more than freaking up in the Carolinas, Tennessee. Not a nickel more. It's an absolute. He talks about, oh well, this is going to be like $1 million and some change. You will sign a bill in 5 seconds to send a couple of billion to Ukraine. But your own people that you are supposed to govern, your own fucking people are absolutely destroyed. And you're going to throw them 770. You might as well roll your big ass fucking beast limo through there and just throw change at these motherfuckers. All right, let me get back to this. I'll get. And who later killed himself. These 1,500 commutations also benefited hundreds of drug dealers, fraudsters, and thieves. Joe Biden and those who control him, though, didn't seem to care about the victims of these criminals. Instead, they just continued their uncaring, offensive giveaway to criminals. The hits continued. In just the last 2 weeks, we learned that the Biden administration released 11 Yemeni terrorists from Guantanamo Bay, including 2 suspected bodyguards of Osama bin Laden. We also learned that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and 2 other architects of the 9/11 attacks will avoid the death penalty as the result of a Biden administration plea deal. That plea bargain is an insult to the sacrifice of thousands of young Americans who left.
Hold on. Sorry, guys. I'm just changing up something. I don't know why I hadn't thought
their
earlier.
homes,
Just lower the
their
resolution.
families, and their professions after 9/11 and volunteered to go fight on behalf of our country. That is an absolute disgrace, and it alone would blacken the legacy of any presidency. There should be a Senate resolution condemning every single one of these commutations and the release of every single
That
terrorist.
doesn't look
Unfortunately,
too bad.
Senate Democrats would block every single resolution. Case in point, last month I introduced a resolution condemning the Democrats' commutation of that Kids for Cash judge. Surely we can agree on that, but nope. Senate Democrats, led by the senator from Illinois, objected to even that limited bill. Therefore, I come to the floor today not to condemn all of these atrocious actions, so they all deserve condemnation. I'm here to simply judge the depth of Democratic fealty to the disgraced president halfway out the door. I'm asking the Senate to condemn just 2 of President Biden's latest and most inexcusable
I know, Warsaw.
commutations of all. His commutations of death row inmates' death sentences. Just 2 days before Christmas, 2 days before Christmas, when most kids had visions of sugar plum fairies dancing in their heads, the president announced that he was commuting the death sentence of 37 rapists, murderers, and sadists. With that action, he brought relief to 37 depraved monsters on death row and despair to the families of their victims during the holiday season. It's difficult to express the cruelty of reminding these families of the worst day of their lives, robbing them of justice right before Christmas, a Christmas gift to 37 savage murderers. And a reminder to those families that not only will they never spend Christmas with their loved ones again, but they won't get justice for their loved ones.
Some of these cases are brutal. I've only looked at a couple.
Crimes and their families, presumably and cynically hoping that the Christmas holiday would suppress media attention and public backlash against his commutations. I don't think so. Now, the president and his defenders would like the American people to think that President Biden made these commutations out of some principled objection to the death penalty. I could respect that. I know people who are opposed to the death penalty, no matter how heinous the crime in all cases, usually founded in a deep-seated religious conviction. I can respect that.
Now, here's where. So let's put Coop full screen here for a second. I wouldn't have any issue with the death penalty if our government wasn't so fucking shady. If you could trust our government to actually be fair in a prosecution, if you could trust our government to be honest in a prosecution, I would have 0 problems with the death penalty. None. Well, and, cops too, but there are a lot of cases where prosecutors, attorneys general, you name it, are more worried about getting a conviction than they are about the truth. That's where my issue is. If you've never looked at it, look at some of the stories of some people that have gone to death row, and look at some of the people who have had their cases completely overturned. Now, I'll give you this. Not all of them were some innocent little darling angel. Some of them, the only reason they were a suspect is because they had committed crimes just like that in other ways, and they were on the police radar, and their victims were pretty much in the same vein. So They thought they had the right dude. They couldn't get him on another case, so they popped him on one, and then they hid evidence, flat out fucking lied, and got these people put in prison for, death penalty. And I think the death penalty, and it'd be massively hard to change my mind on this, the death penalty is more humane than keeping a person in a cage for their natural born life. So, and it took a while to get me to this point. Watching our government, watching how dirty they are, watching how they play more than fast and loose with the truth, to change me from someone who was absolutely pro death penalty to you better have it concrete before I agree with the state murdering somebody, killing somebody. Not murder. If they did the shit, it's not murder. If they didn't do the shit, it damn sure is murder. So my position is still pretty much pro death penalty and fucking anti-government, because they're lying sacks of shit we can't trust. So that's where I'm at. I don't know where you guys are at. Hold on, where's my what? Why'd it go down there? All right, so let me crank this back up.
I certainly disagree with it, but I understand. But that's not what Joe Biden did. That is a lie. He commuted the sentences of 37 death row inmates, and he left 3 killers on death row. Who are they? You may have heard of them. The Mother Emanuel church shooter in Charleston, the Tree of Life synagogue shooter in Pittsburgh, and the Boston Marathon bomber. So clearly he believes in the death penalty for some criminals, but not most.
And I will suggest those are good damn candidates for the death penalty.
Judgment that the victims of 37 depraved murderers and their families didn't deserve justice. He also made a choice that not even he, doddering out of the White House, could defend the commutations.
Yeah, more so.
Racist murderers.
Trust me, I am not against the motherfucker getting put down.
That kind of grave political damage on his own party. But he wasn't motivated by principle. He was motivated by politics and guided by left-wing ideologues. He handpicked 37 murderers to save from death row.
And, isn't that the damned of it? That our government is so shady and so untrustworthy that people like me are out there going, yeah, I completely agree with the death penalty. I just don't trust our fucking government to do it honestly. Just food for thought.
Row. Unlike the rest of his pardons and commutations, can't hide behind the excuses of staff, incompetence, personal arrogance, or the affection of a father. He knew who he was pardoning, and he knew the evil crimes they had committed. So I'd like to discuss in a little more detail just 2 of the depraved savages that Joe Biden saved from death row. The first is Anthony Battle, who broke into his ex-wife's home and raped her, stabbed her to death with a butcher knife. She was heard screaming, quote, help me, rape. She was a United States Marine.
What you want to bet she had a restraining order?
And murdered her. Yet that murder wasn't even the crime for which he was on federal death row. He wasn't done. While he was in prison, he beat a 31-year-old correctional officer to death with a hammer, hitting him in the back of the head 3 times until he was soaked in the officer's blood. The correctional officer hadn't even done anything to provoke or confront Battle. Battle beat him to death anyway. When he was given a chance to apologize for the killing, Battle said that the officer, quote, died like a dog. This is why we have the death penalty for correctional officers. So inhumane monsters who are stuck in prison for life have some reason not to start open hunting season on correctional officers. This is the man that Joe Biden decided deserved mercy 2 days before Christmas. A man who raped and murdered a U.S. Marine and bludgeoned a peace officer to death. Joe Biden also saved the life of Marvin Gabrion, another rapist and serial killer. While facing trial for raping 19-year-old Rachel Timmerman, yes, that's right, he was on trial for raping a 19-year-old girl. Gabrion kidnapped her. He bound her body with duct tape, he chained her to a concrete block, and he threw her into a lake while she was still breathing. Her last moments filled with terror and agony. In addition, he also killed her 11-month-old baby, 11 months old. He allegedly confessed in prison that he, quote, killed the baby because there was nowhere else to put it. This is the man that Joe Biden also decided deserved clemency 2 days before Christmas. It is an ancient truth that some crimes are so evil that the scales of justice can never balance, so long as the perpetrator lives. Every day that men like Marvin Gabrion and Anthony Battle draw breath at the expense of American taxpayers is a day that justice is denied. There is no forgiveness in this world for what they did, and there's no redemption. The sooner they exit this world, the sooner they will face the full measure of justice in the next. And that's just two. I could give you 35 more examples as well. That's all I'm asking for today. Unanimous consent for 2 resolutions. The first one condemns the commutation of Marvin Gabrion, a rapist and serial killer. The second condemns the commutation of Anthony Battle, who raped and murdered a U.S. Marine and bludgeoned a correctional officer to death. So now,
and he's going to talk for a minute more before Dick Durbin gets up. But imagine that. This guy killed his wife and a baby and didn't get the death penalty. He got the death penalty once he killed the correctional officer. I submit to the class the killing of the woman should have been enough for the death penalty. I further submit evidence that the killing of an 11-month-old child should have got him a bullet to the fucking face. It shouldn't have taken killing a federal police officer or a federal guard. But how in the hell the other 2 murders didn't get him the death penalty? And again, I'm still riding that fence because I don't think our government's all that honest. And we've seen plenty of times where they fuck with people's cases. But if they had this dude dead to rights, if they had him dead to rights, killing the woman and killing an 11-month-old child, he should have got the death penalty for that. It shouldn't have to been work up a cop to get the death penalty. I got plenty of words for that, but Agorizer, sup, my brother?
So, Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate now proceed to the en bloc consideration of the following Senate resolutions, which are at the desk. Senate Resolution 24, Senate Resolution 25. Further, I ask unanimous consent that the resolutions be agreed to, the preambles be agreed to, and that the motions to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate, all en bloc.
Is there objection?
Madam President, reserving the right to object.
The Democratic whip?
Madam President, I've listened carefully to the presentation of the senator from Arkansas.
I got to make this point.
I waited to hear 5 words. I waited patiently.
I got to make this point real fast because Dick Durbin is trying to say he objects to, or he won't allow this resolution to go further because he objects to the resolution. Dick Durbin is saying that the commutation of 37 death row inmates, he backs because he is morally against the death penalty. However, he left three murderers there. If you were against the death penalty, you should have voted or pushed commutations for the other three. If you are on your pedestal against the death penalty. Chamber Defense, my brother. Dude, it was good to see you earlier today. But listen to how this son bitch talks about January 6th in just a second.
Patiently as he described these heinous crimes and the action of President Biden, waiting to hear 5 words. To my knowledge, unless I missed him, he went through his whole speech without mentioning those 5 words. They're critical to this whole issue. I'd like to clarify the record on President Biden's recent clemency efforts. On December 23rd, President Biden announced he would commute the sentences of 37 of the 40 individuals who are on federal death row. These individuals will now have their sentences reclassified from execution, and here are the 5 words, to life without possibility of parole. Life.
Is that what it came down to, Tread?
Of parole. Now, I understand Senator Cotton is opposed to President's commutations in at least 2 of these cases. I want to be clear. The crimes he described and the crimes these individuals all committed are egregious, and there must be accountability. The President's decision provides for accountability.
Sounds about right.
With a term of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, this will ensure that these individuals will never again pose a threat to public safety, never again enjoy freedom.
We'll look at it in a second.
Human lives. Now, my colleague from Arkansas may disagree with the decision.
There are 2 inmates who are trying to fight the commutations.
For the abolition of the federal death penalty. I know he sees it differently. I commend President Biden for his leadership. The death penalty is deeply, deeply flawed. History tells us a terrible tale of the victims of the death penalty in America. It is disproportionately.
Okay, Dickie. Because you're fixing to get into some territory where I'm in, Dickie. But someone like Dylan Roof is no doubt 100% the shooter. No doubt 100% he's a shooter. If you are against the death penalty on the grounds that you're fixing to talk about, then Roof and the other guys should have been pulled off that too. If you're completely against the death penalty, that's completely against the death penalty. You're not dancing around the ground where I'm dancing around, where I'm actually for the death penalty. I just don't fucking trust the government to actually be honest in these cases to get the right people. And let's see where it goes.
Proportionally been applied to people of color. That's a fact. That is why I serve as lead sponsor of the Federal Death Penalty Prohibition Act, bicameral legislation to prohibit the use of death penalty at the federal level. I spoke out in July of 2020 when the Trump administration
if you are against
the 17-year hiatus on federal executions. In total, Trump oversaw 13 executions in the last 6 months of his presidency. I will continue to urge Congress to pass my legislation to end the federal death penalty, following the lead of 23 states that have already done so, including my state of Illinois. This failed and unjust policy has no place.
Yeah, Agaraj, they're a big threat to your wallet.
If Senator Cotton is concerned about undermining the rule of law and robbing victims of justice, we should consider for just a moment President Trump's pardons. For example, President Trump's decision to grant clemency to all 10 healthcare executives and doctors convicted in one of the largest Medicare fraud schemes in the history of our country. These decisions wiped away years of prison sentences because of the action taken by President Trump, and restitution totaling hundreds of millions of dollars.
So let me get this straight. You're defending the commutation of sentences for very vile people who actually took lives, destroyed lives. But you were against people who the only victim was the fucking government?
For some of the worst healthcare fraudsters in America's history.
Matt, what's up, brother man?
By Trump have gone on be charged with another crime, a new one. President Trump also used his pardon power to provide relief for his political loyalist. Who am I referring to? His former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, his national security advisor, Michael Flynn.
All right. Him talking about President Trump using his commutation for political officers. I guarantee you look through the pardons that Biden put in, he is either repaying favors from these people for shady shit they did for the Democrat Party, or he is buying favors because once those people are back out on the street, they become part of the machine again. It's always constant. These leftists accuse someone on the right of doing something that the leftists are actually doing and have done. Yeah, he's talking about fraudsters with a straight face. Yeah. Somebody who defrauded the government. Okay, bad boy. Part or commutate the sentence of actual murderers who raped and murdered men and women and children. Nah, hey, that's all cool. Man.
His former advisor, Steve Bannon, and at least 7 Republican congressmen who had been convicted of crimes. Now President Trump has promised he'll pardon the January 6 rioters on day 1 of his new administration. He calls them, quote, political prisoners.
Yes.
I'd like to ask my colleague from Arkansas if he supports pardoning the following of these individuals. David Dempsey, convicted of assaulting police officers by using, quote, hands, feet, flagpoles, crutches, pepper spray, broken pieces of furniture, and anything else he could get his hands on as a weapon. How about Shane Jenkins? Trump pardon? Convicted of using 2 axes to break into the Capitol and assault police officers by throwing furniture and a flagpole at them. Kyle Fitzsimmons, convicted of 5 separate assaults against law enforcement, including one that caused a career-ending, life-altering injury to U.S.
Oh, crap. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Let me catch back up to that.
Pardon power to provide relief for his political loyalist. Who am I?
All right, we'll hold on to it right there for a second. Now, notice this piece of shit right here is not talking about all the people that were jailed, some still in jail, been held in solitary confinement, have been flat out abused, reports of beatings, people who were on the grounds during January 6th, didn't even enter the Capitol. And then some of them who were let in by the police, I watched this shit happen live, walk through the rotunda in between the velvet ropes, waving a flag. There was one dude, I'll never forget him. He stood right in the middle of the rotunda blowing a big-ass joint. None of those people hurt somebody. Some of the ones who fought cops were fucking provoked and were actually defending them goddamn selves. Let me say that now. Were there some actors in there that were trying to stir some up and do some serious damage? Sure there was. But I literally saw live on that day. You couldn't see where the chick was standing, but the guy holding the camera was like, hey, put that down. Hey, put that down. She's got a knife. He's pointing to the cops. She's got a knife pointing down at her. So all those people weren't violently, trying to kill cops. How is that even close to someone who murders a woman and murders an 11-month-old child? Oh, I know what it is. The people that had the issue with you actually brought the issue to your fucking house. They didn't go burn down the Wendy's in their own goddamn neighborhood. They brought it to you.
Who am I referring to? His former campaign manager, Paul Manafort. His national security advisor, Michael Flynn. His former advisor, Steve Bannon, and at least 7 Republican congressmen who had been convicted of
All of
crimes.
them, not
Now
murderers.
President Trump has promised he'll pardon the January 6 rioters on day one of his administration. He calls them, quote, political prisoners. I'd like to ask my colleague from Arkansas if he supports pardoning the following of these individuals. David Dempsey, convicted of assaulting police officers by using, quote, hands, feet, flagpoles, crutches, pepper spray, broken pieces of furniture, and anything else he could get his hands on as a weapon. How about Shane Jenkins? Trump pardon? Convicted of using 2 axes to break into the Capitol and assault police officers by throwing furniture and a flagpole.
Notice he didn't throw the
Kyle
axes.
Fitzsimmons, convicted of 5 separate assaults against law enforcement, including one that caused a career-ending, life-altering injury to U.S. Capitol Police Sergeant Aquilino Ganell. A pardon? Is he ready for a pardon? And Kenneth Benowitz, member of the so-called Proud Boys, assaulted at least 6 officers, placing one officer in a chokehold, lifting him by the neck. Bonowitz injured one officer so severely it forced him into retirement. I don't recall the senator from Arkansas or any of his Republican colleagues introducing similar resolutions to criticize any of President Trump's pardons, and I haven't heard any Senate Republicans urging President-elect Trump not to pardon the January 6th rioters. President Biden's commutations, providing for life imprisonment without parole, are far more defensible than President Trump's use of the pardon power during his first term or what he's planning for the first day of his second term.
Yeah, I know,
For
Matt.
these reasons, I object.
So,
Objection is heard.
If the senator from Arkansas wants
as far as I know, nobody who actually violently attacked Capitol Police has been pardoned yet. None, not a single one that provably attacked violently police. And I will submit to the class, some of those weren't attacked, some of those was some motherfucker defending themselves. I've read through the charging documents for a lot of the people convicted for whatever on Jan 6, parading through the Capitol. One of them in his charging documents, because you can look them up on DOJ's website, they're proud to brag about it. The physical contact in between him and another officer was him pushing back against the officer, which means the officer pushed him first and then pushing past the officer. Felony. You really don't hate these people enough.
the police use of pardon, I ask for recognition.
Senators recognized.
The use of pardon power. I urge him to instead support my resolution urging President-elect Trump not to pardon crimes committed during January 6, 2021, the attack on the U.S. Capitol. Even our former Senate colleague, Vice President-elect Vance, said this week, and I quote him, "If you committed a violence on January 6, obviously you shouldn't be pardoned." I hope the senator from Arkansas agrees.
No, I think they go back and forth here for a little bit longer. I will say this. If you were convicted of so-called violence on January 6th, you ought to have every bit of the tape that involves you reviewed. And if the officers attacked you first, that's fucking self-defense. Plain and simple. I saw people get shot in the fucking head with rubber bullets on January 6th, watching all the live streams I was watching. They weren't attacking the cops at that time. They were part of the crowd, got shot right in the fucking head with a rubber bullet. One dude, I think it was his cheek, maybe, damn near got him in the eye. If a cop totes an ass whooping after that, I have zero fucking problems with it because that person wasn't attacking cops. He damn sure caught one in the face. I fucking wish that I'd had my channel started that day so I could have fucking taken all these different cameras and streamed them. A lot of that shit got washed away so fast, it wasn't even funny. You couldn't find a lot of those videos the day after. They got cameras about in every square foot of that fucking building and on the grounds. I saw it when the cops opened up the doors. Let motherfuckers walk in. Hey, here you go. Ashley Babbitt was right next to two cops before she stepped up to go through the window and got shot in the fucking neck. Yeah, saw that too that day. I'm amazed the asshole who shot her didn't hit the two cops that were right next to her. If those two officers didn't feel the need to do anything, why the fuck are you shooting her in the neck? And by the way, his form for holding a pistol and actually maneuvering around cover fucking sucks.
So I ask for consent on my resolution. It is a resolution that contains the allegations which I made earlier. And let me read the necessary script for the record. I ask unanimous consent the Senate proceed to consideration of my resolution at the desk. Further, the resolution
Yeah,
be
man.
agreed to, the preamble be agreed to, and the motions to reconsider be considered, made, and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection?
Mr. President,
Senator from Arkansas.
reserving the right to object, which I certainly will, I want to briefly address what the senator from Illinois said about my resolution condemning these two death sentence commutations. And I want to acknowledge the senator from Illinois is a longtime and principled opponent of the death penalty, based, I believe, in part on genuine and deep faith convictions. Had that position for years. And as I said, I can respect that. The senator from Illinois would presumably want to see the commutation of the Mother Emanuel Church shooter, the Tree of Life Synagogue shooter, and the Boston Marathon bomber. Strongly disagree. I can respect it. It's not what Joe Biden did. Joe Biden picked and chose which depraved murderers and rapists deserved to live and deserved to die, denying justice to the families of all those who were killed by anyone who wasn't totally politically toxic. Second, the senator from Illinois said that he did not hear 5 words in my remarks. He repeatedly said he didn't hear 5 words in my remarks. Those 5 words he didn't hear are life without the possibility of parole. That is true. He didn't hear those words in my remarks. That's not what these murderers were sentenced to. They were sentenced by a jury of their peers
Dickie don't quit
to the death penalty. And one of them that I offered the resolution on, Anthony Battle, murdered a correctional officer while he was in prison for life. Giving these 37 depraved murderers life in prison without the possibility of parole doesn't solve the problem. It creates 37 new potential problems. Open hunting season on correctional officers at every facility where they are incarcerated. Again, that is why we have the death penalty for the murder of a correctional officer, because otherwise there is nothing for these depraved men to lose. Now, Senator Durbin also mentioned a few of President Trump's pardons of Medicare fraudsters or political allies or others. I haven't reviewed every one of those cases. I'm not prepared today to say whether I would support them or not. Some of them sound pretty bad. Here's what they aren't, though. Heinous murderers who duct tape a woman alive, tied her to a concrete block, and threw her in a river while the murderer was on trial for her rape, and then killed her 11-month-old baby because he didn't have anything better to do with it. He mentioned the January 6th defendants. President Trump has said he's going to likely issue pardon in some of those cases. I think that's appropriate. Many of these men and women have been convicted of misdemeanor crimes like parading and picketing on public grounds without a permit. They had the book thrown at them, including a 72-year-old great-grandma who was just walking around wearing a red MAGA hat. I hope the president will review these cases on a case-by-case basis. I think all presidents should do that. But whatever President Trump does with January 6 defendants in commutations or pardons will pale in comparison to...
You know what? and I think I probably said it before. So if Joe Biden wanted to prove, and Democrats in general wanted to prove, that they are actual human beings with morals, values, and everything like that, they would look at a lot of cases on January 6th and they would allow Biden to actually pardon a lot of those people. But yeah, that's asking for people to be fucking humans. The dude, the podium dude who took Nancy Pelosi's podium, he didn't take the son of a bitch home. He just moved it from one spot to another spot. How many? I can't remember how long that dude was in fucking prison for moving furniture.
Eliminating the judgment of these 37 depraved murderers, fellow citizens, to impose the death penalty on them will pale in comparison to depriving these families of some measure of justice 2 days before Christmas. So I do object to this resolution, and I cannot believe that this Senate, our Democratic colleagues, cannot bring themselves to condemn some of these pardons over the last 2 months of Hunter Biden, or the Kids for Cash judge who sold kids into juvenile detention centers for bribes, or now depraved murderers. I object, Mr. President.
Objections heard.
All right. So that's the fun part for that. However, let me, I'm going to share another tab because right now, that's not what I want to do. You fucking retard. Focus, you moron. So this is what's going on.
I think it's only right to use these words again. Over the course of his long service to this country, President Joseph Biden has been a source of hope and an author of history.
If
And
that
just
don't
as
make
Haney
you puke.
observed, he became one of the rare leaders who have made hope and history rhyme. America is better for
So
us.
this was earlier today, but
Over the
the
decades I've
Senate
known
should be
President Joe
voting.
Biden, he's proven to be one of the finest
Let me
public
crank him
servants
down just a
America
little
has
bit.
seen. Coming from humble beginnings, he worked hard and put himself in positions.
I'll crank it up if
to
it gets
develop
rolling
this
back.
nation.
Just let me know if you can hear my voice over this shit a little better.
When it came to making
The
decisions
Senate
that
should be
affected
voting on a
issues that
bill
matter most to the American
tonight
people,
for
Joe Biden
deporting
was the
illegals
first. Though through
who
immense
commit
personal
crimes
tragedy,
and get caught
setbacks and obstacles,
and get
President
arrested
Biden has taken the strength
and go to jail,
he learned from his family,
where you have
and
them
steadfast
in the
his
custody
faith in America.
of people
He gave millions of
who
people
have
in the nation
handcuffs
voices
and
freedom.
guns and everything.
His record as a senator
Um,
while serving as vice president under Barack Obama,
Mr.
while sitting
Pelosi's
behind the
boyfriend.
resolute desk himself, speaks for itself.
Dude, Matt. Dude.
Joe Biden. I think of the
I
incredible
am there for that
progress
one if it happens.
America has made under
I
his
am
leadership.
there for that one.
The COVID-19 pandemic changed life in America as we knew it. It claimed thousands
Oh,
of lives,
that
brought
would be more
our
fun.
economy to a virtual halt. But thanks to Joe Biden, we recovered from the devastation of this pandemic. We passed the American.
So
Rescue
again,
Plan
this was
to
Dick
support
Durbin
working
speaking on the
families
floor
and
of the Senate
businesses
again
to
earlier
address the
today.
public health crisis.
But they are
This
supposed to go to the
law
vote
makes
on
sense
the
to
Lincoln
millions of
Riley
Americans,
Act
and
tonight.
normalcy returned. In 2020, the world economy was in shambles due to COVID-19. In April 2020, our economy lost nearly 21 million
So,
jobs.
Right now, they're all dicking around in their offices and on the floor and trying to wheel and deal with each other and figure out who's going to do what
Many workers were
and
able to
develop
get
their
back to work.
strategies.
Since Joe Biden has
Barton
taken
Fink,
over,
brother,
our
what's up?
economy has added 16 million jobs. 20 million new business applications have been filed, the most in any single presidential term in history. And under Joe Biden, unemployment was under 50%.
Yeah, most of those people are
For the
cops, though,
longest
Barton.
stretch in 50 years. 4 years ago, Infrastructure Week was nothing more than
Yeah, well, yeah, you got me, Pelosi, everybody
Thanks to
else.
Joe
Yeah,
Biden, we passed
you got me.
bipartisan infrastructure law that replaced our
Abigail, what's up, my
infrastructure
sister?
and expanded access to clean drinking water and the high-speed internet. Thanks to Joe Biden, we took historic action to address the climate crisis.
Yeah, I think there's a height limit. It's like 4'2" or something like that, Abby.
Energy, sustainability, and climate resilience.
You got to be that small to ride the ride.
And we guaranteed American leadership in science and technology with the CHIPS and Science.
Well, Abby, we've said it plenty of times. Our government is the biggest and most successful crime family in history.
Competitiveness for generations. Because
Hands
of leadership, we were
down.
able to enact the most significant gun safety legislation passed in nearly 30 years, the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Thanks to Joe Biden, over $180 billion in student loan debt has been forgiven for more than 5 million Americans, giving them finally a chance at life. We lowered the cost of prescription drugs, made historic gains in expanding health insurance coverage, and continue to fight for the reproductive rights of all Americans. History will also remember.
It's not reproductive rights, it's the murder of a child in the womb.
He championed it while in the Senate, bipartisan legislation aiming to make sure every woman can live.
And guys, again, anybody who wants to jump in, chat's at the top of the stream. So it's an open floor. We're just hanging out.
That I worked with Joe
Brother
Biden.
Sam, what is going on? How you been, brother?
35 judges to the federal bench under his leadership, including the
Oh,
first
and I say it all the time. You guys with channels, throw your shit out in the chat. That way, if anybody new bounces in, they got a smorgasbord to go look at.
In America as a world power, a global leader, and a responsive ally that would not tolerate.
Sam, what were you playing last?
Undermined by autocrats like Putin.
I can't even remember, man.
He defended Ukraine, boosted competition with China, and strengthened alliances in the South Pacific. Oversaw the expansion of NATO and its bolstering of defenses of its Baltic members. But most importantly, thanks to Joe Biden, the office of
Good to hear you doing good, brother.
Stood for decency, civility, respect, and empathy. I sincerely hope our nation does not lose sight of these values. There is no doubt when it comes to Haney's words, President Biden's life has imitated art. Throughout his time in public service, President Biden inspired hope.
President Biden's life has imitated art.
And in his commitment to ensuring that America lived up to her lofty
I
ideals,
bet it looks like a Hunter Biden painting.
Shape history. President Biden, it's been an honor to count myself as your colleague and your friend. On behalf of a grateful nation and the world, I want to say to you and to Jill and all of your family who shared you with us for so long, thanks for making hope and history rhyme.
Yeah, Abby, I still sub to you. Go ahead and throw it out there. That way, if you get a wild hair and want to put something out, it's there. Doesn't matter whether you've streamed recently or not. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. Of course, I don't know whether I caught the last one. I don't know if I caught the last one. The game keeps crashing because a bunch of mods. Yeah, to do that. Of course, I'm the only mods, and I'm on Xbox. The only mods I'm running on
We're waiting for a senator
from
to come to the floor to speak.
Xbox,
The
or
upper
not
chamber is
from
debating
Xbox,
legislation
but
requiring
are like the
the
user
Homeland
submitted
Security
mods.
Department to detain
And I'm only running a
criminals for
couple of
fabricated
those.
crime. That bill is named after Laken Riley, a 22-year-old University of Georgia nursing student.
And it's
who
like
was
Skyrim.
murdered
Skyrim, the only
last
mods
week
I'm running are the
entered the country illegally.
pretty much the same thing. Mods that are done by people that they think are good enough that they post up to the system. Now, I I did in Skyrim the other day.
Yes, please welcome the President of the United States, accompanied by Secretary of State Anthony Blinken.
So again, they're just killing time till they get on with this Lake and Riley shit. And then when the wife and kiddos get here, I'm going to bounce. I haven't looked at the 2K24 yet. I'm actually going to get my ass back into doing some gaming and some gaming streams. just to hang out and do something different than this horse shit where we're looking at hearings or oral arguments and all the other stuff that we're normally doing on my channel. Oh, Abby, I don't have any, like Skyrim, I don't have any mods in that.
I didn't say anything. This would go on all that.
But the potion leveling stuff,
Mr.
I got
President,
shit so leveled up, it
it
ain't
is
even
an
damn
honor
funny.
to welcome you back to the
I
state.
could let everybody in that game try to beat my ass and they couldn't do it.
Day one of this administration, you shared a few things with me. You told me something that we long discussed, reminded me that American engagement.
And in Fallout,
American
there's a
leadership,
mod, couple of mods
if
for
we're not
different
engaged,
weapons,
if we're not leading,
and I'm running
you said,
those.
someone else is
So I think I got a
and probably
maybe it's not a
that
Barrett 50 cal, but
advances our interests or values.
another 50 cal
Or maybe
rifle, an
no one.
SVD, an
Maybe
actual
we're lucky to
AK,
a vacuum filled with bad things,
stuff like
filled with
that.
good things. But the other thing you told me, Mr. President, was that there's a greater premium than ever before.
You want to be a regular person surviving to go out in the woods with a bug out? Yeah, I heard that.
If we're going to get done what we need to get done for the American people. And so you instructed me, you
Yeah,
instructed all of us
F both
to get
of
out
them
there, to rebuild,
with
to
with the
rejuvenate,
biggest
even to reimagine
thing you can find.
our alliances and partnerships.
All right, well, I got to beat myself for a few.
What you told me then, you said, we don't know when this is going to make a difference, when we're going to need these friendships, these partnerships, but someday, some way, somewhere, they're going to be critical for advancing the national interest. And that's exactly what the men and women of this department have done. And we've been able to carry out that charge for two reasons. First, the people you see before you and so many others who are out in the field or embassies and consulates. You said when you came here 4 years ago that the leadership of diplomats of every stripe doing the daily work of government is essential. And they proved it. That daily work has become nightly work, 24/7, 7 days a week, hammering out agreements, jumping into action in crisis, creating opportunities for our citizens around the world, producing expert advice for you and your team at the White House. Everyone here knows this work can be tough. It's often not very glamorous, but it makes us stronger. It makes the world a better place. And we simply couldn't do it without the extraordinary men and women that you have before us, as well as our remarkable partners in government, starting with the great White House team led by Jake Sullivan, my friends and colleagues from across the administration, Secretary of Defense, Samantha Power at USAID, Secretary of the Treasury, Commerce, and so on. All of these partnerships that we built and built with their teams have made a difference. So to all of my colleagues, thank you. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for your partnership. There's one other reason that we've been able to re-engage and rejuvenate our diplomacy. Mr. President, that's you. You have never wavered in the conviction that when America leads, when America engages, there is little we cannot accomplish. And that this country remains a force for good, a force for progress around the world. Your unshakable belief in the promise of America has inspired me for more than 20 years. It's inspired so many people in this department and around the world. Simply put, it's been the privilege of my lifetime to work for you, to work with you, to work with this extraordinary team that you've assembled. And it's the honor of a lifetime to be able to introduce one more time the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, please, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's good to be back at the State Department. Tony, if I may start by saying this, you're one of the finest men I've ever known in any undertaking, for one important reason. You're not only brilliant, you have incredible character. You have character. You have more integrity than almost anybody I know. Thank you for always sticking with me. Appreciate it. Folks, I'm grateful for his counsel and his friendship as well, but I also want to thank the members of my cabinet and the members of the Congress who are here today, and to all our diplomats, development experts, service members, and intelligence professionals. Many of the achievements we're going to discuss today are the result of your hard work, and that's not hyperbole, it's true. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your extraordinary service. Now, I come here to the State Department to report on to the American people on the progress we've made in the last 4 years in our foreign policy and our presidency. I've said many times, we're at an inflection point. The post-Cold War period is over. A new era has begun. In these 4 years, we faced crises that we've been tested. We've come through those tests stronger, in my view, than we entered those tests. This is a fierce competition underway. The future of the global economy, technology, human values, and so much else. Right now, in my view, thanks to our administration, the United States is winning the worldwide competition. Compared to 4 years ago, America is stronger. Our alliances are stronger. Our adversaries and competitors are weaker. We have not gone to war to make these things happen. During my presidency, I've increased America's power at every dimension. We've increased our diplomatic power, creating more allies than the United States has ever had in the history of our nation. We've increased our military power, making the most significant investments in the defense industrial base in decades. Technology power, taking the lead in artificial intelligence and other technologies of the future. We've increased the economic power, building the most dynamic economy in the world from the bottom up and the middle out, not the top down. In short, Kamala and I took office, our nation had become stronger at home, are stronger in the world. And now, America is more capable and I would argue better prepared than we've been in a long, long time. While our competitors and adversaries are facing stiff headwinds, we have the wind at our back because of all of you. This is what we're heading into. And over the next administration, that's what we're heading into. Today, I want to lay out what we've done, the opportunities we've created for America, and those opportunities going forward. Today, I can report to the American people our sources of national power are far stronger than we were when we took office. Our economy is booming, although there's more work to do. Our technology to advance semiconductors are the envy of the world. And we have made the most significant investments in America and the American workers since our roads and bridges, our ports and airports, clean water systems, affordable high-speed internet, and so much more. To build American manufacturing, to make advanced semiconductors, which we invented here at home.
Majority Leader.
Madam President, I have one request for a committee to meet during today's session of the Senate. It has the approval of the majority and minority leaders.
Duly noted.
Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that the appointments at the desk appear separately in the record as if made by the chair.
Without objection.
As in executive session, I ask unanimous consent that the injunction of secrecy be removed from the following treaty transmitted to the Senate on January 14, 2025 by the President of the United States. Treaty with the United Arab Emirates on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters, treaty document number 119-1. I further ask that the treaty be considered as having been read the first time, that it be referred with accompanying papers to the Committee on Foreign Relations in order to be printed, and that the President's message be printed in the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that the Senate proceed to the consideration of S-Res 26, which is at the desk.
You on the phone, Coop?
Report. Senate Resolution 26 to constitute the majority party's membership on certain committees for the 119th Congress or until their successors are chosen.
Is there objection to proceeding to the measure?
Check.
Without objection, the Senate will proceed.
Madam President, I ask unanimous consent the resolution be agreed to and the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Without objection.
Madam President, I ask unanimous consent that when the Senate completes its business today, it stand adjourned until 12 noon on Wednesday, January the 15th, that following the prayer and pledge, the journal proceedings be approved today, the morning hour be deemed expired, the time for the two leaders be reserved for their use later in the day, and the Senate resume consideration of calendar number 1, S5.
Without objection.
If there is no further business to come before the Senate, I ask that it stand adjourned under the previous order.
Senate stands adjourned until noon tomorrow.
Well, today in the Senate, lawmakers debated legislation requiring the Homeland Security Department
Now I got everything.
Well, I'm at Nana, so let me fetch up them kiddos.
All right, baby. We'll see you get home. Be careful. Love you.
Love you too.
All right, bye. All right, perps. I'm back. So apparently they're not going to do anything with that Lake and Riley freaking bill tonight. They just shit can that. Here's Tread. Brother Tread, what's up?
I'm back again.
How you been, brother?
I got an echo in my ear, though.
You got the other tab open still?
No, maybe. Hold on.
Yeah, make sure your YouTube's still not up and running.
Yeah, it was on there. I was trying to see if my headset was working because I'm not sure if I was working. Now I'm not sure you're working now. Are you there?
Oh, no, we should be good. Yeah, you hear me?
Okay, I hear you now.
Yeah, no, we should be good.
There was a lot of your mouth moving, but I didn't hear you, so I was like...
Yeah, that's why I kept holding up my phone. My wife will call me a lot of times when she leaves the shop and kind of give me the rundown on the day. And so I was talking to her and letting old Uncle Sniffy freaking do his thing. Let me see what I can find something real fast. So how you been, Tread? You been all right? You there, brother? I think we might have lost Tread. I don't think it's me.
Can you hear me now?
All right. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Well, that's weird. If I had the YouTube part so I can read the chat, you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, you're on your phone, right?
I'm on my phone with a headset.
Yeah, it's always funny being on your phone. It freaking always acts weird, at least for me.
Well, I got it on the TV, but it's a little delayed on the TV, so.
Yeah, there's always that lag.
So what do you think of the Hegseth hearing?
Dude, I think Hegseth did really good in the hearing. I knew the Democrats were going to be a complete fucking clown show all the way through. So, I mean, I pretty much knew that was coming. The interruptions at the start of it, they were like 3 or 4 different times they were interrupted with Code Pink and a bunch of other people getting up and yelling. And I wish I'd been able to. I was listening through it through an earbud while I was doing other stuff around the shop. I wish I had been able to see it to see whether they actually showed the interruptions or whether they just kept the cameras running on everybody up on the dais.
Yeah, I missed that part.
Because all these confirmations are going to be a shit show, man.
I don't think all of them will be. I don't think Rubio will be.
I think Rubio is probably the one that's going to be the lesser out of the shit shows. Cash Patel,
the lesser known ones, but Patel and what's her name, Tulsi, and probably Kennedy.
Yeah, I think those are going to be probably the 3 blockbusters: Tulsi, Patel, and the other one. Shit, I lost my damn train of thought.
RFK.
Yeah, RFK.
Now, one rumor is that I heard on it was on a Fox show. I think it was Fox show. No, it wasn't. It was what's her name from Texas? Gonzalez. Is that right? Anyway.
Tony Gonzalez?
No, lady. She's on the see Gonzalez. She's on with Beck. Glenn Beck.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. I haven't watched that shit in forever.
I can't think of her name. Anyway, they were talking last night about they think that the Democrats are going to fall back in line with RFK for RFK to run as a Democrat in 28. And that if the Democrats let him breeze through, then that's kind of a sign that they're going to be jumping in on his back to get him to run as a Democrat president for 28.
Everything is kind of a possibility with these people. But to be honest with you, what I see in 2028 is someone like Josh Shapiro, believe it or not, Gavin Newsom.
I think Gavin Newsom has shot himself in the foot with this fire.
Dude, as short-sighted as people are and how short their memories are, I don't think he shot himself in the foot at all.
True. 4 years from now, they'll forget about the fire.
Yeah. Most people, they have the fucking memory of a goldfish. So, really and truly, they wanted to bump him up this year, but most of the donors did. But the Democrat Party itself was so pissed off that it wouldn't be Kamala that they kept Kamala in. They couldn't be seen as throwing the black woman to the side. So they kept Kamala, wrote it out, and they had 2 plans. If Kamala wins, because you got to figure, there's always contingency plans. So if Kamala wins, they just push their agenda through. If Kamala loses, well, then they just burn the world down around Trump.
Yep.
That's the way these people work. It's no different than the debate with Biden and Trump. I told people then that was all part of the plan to scoot Biden out. That's the only reason they let that go down, to scoot Biden out so that they can move someone else in. I was wrong thinking that they would go ahead and go with Newsom and Shapiro. I was fucking amazed they kept Harris. But I think right now, I think they kept Harris because they know Trump will take office. They're just going to go fucking let the whole world burn down and blame it all on Trump, even though most of the shit is what they caused for the last 4 years.
I think they kept Harris because Joe Biden slipped of the tongue with his dementia, said, "I'm backing her." And it kind of stuck the DNC with, well, we can't exactly go against him now.
Dude, there's Joe Biden didn't know he was being replaced until the last second.
Mm-hmm.
Now
and people were talking about how they think that he did that shit on purpose. He did it on purpose, but he didn't know he did it on purpose. He still got dementia. I don't care what anybody says. He still got the dementia, and he just throwed out her name as he's backing her, and they kind of had to stick to it.
there was I think the weekend before Biden decided to step down or step aside, there were reports, and I'd have to go back and look them up. There were reports that he had a medical emergency on Air Force One, I think traveling back from Arizona. And everybody poo-pooed that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was the final card where they said, look, he is not going to make it through the election. So there's no way he can get out there and campaign, nothing. So we got to switch the game up now. We don't have any other choice. And when they started talking about who to replace him with, the Congressional Black Caucus and all these people basically told him, we will pull the black vote if you don't keep Harris in there.
Even though she's not
and
black.
The Democrats went with her. Yeah, even though she's not black, not a African American, she's not a black person.
No, she's Indian Irish.
Yeah.
Dot Indian.
Medical emergency was due to Taco Bell.
A dot Indian, not a Native American.
No, she is. It's like even Trump said it, and plenty of people said it before Trump, and that's where Trump got it from. She never claimed to be black her entire career.
No.
She was always Indian, and she never claimed it. Abigail said Irish, I don't claim her.
Candace Owens done a big weekly thing on doing her heritage. In her book with all the pictures of Uncle somebody, they were visiting. Well, whoever that was actually a friend of the family that was like an uncle that lived in Harlem. She had no black relatives.
No.
They were all Indian descent, Irish. And I mean, yeah, they were from Jamaica, but there's white people that are born in Jamaica every day. There's white people in South America too.
Hey,
yeah.
We all know good and well that they thought they could check enough boxes off with her and keep their cheat game strong, and she would have just slid into office. There's it's not like the woman is known to be a freaking intelligent individual or
at all
someone who has this big grand plan for anything.
She slept her way to the top, and she got to second from the top and couldn't sleep her way higher.
Well, in her defense, would you sleep with Joe Biden?
I mean, even if she did sleep with Joe Biden, it wouldn't have done no good unless you could talk him into dropping out.
She's too old for him anyway.
Yeah. He likes him real young.
Yeah. Dude, this hearing today with Hegseth, though, where you have these Democrats, and of course, it's all about them getting their soundbite, their clip on the news. When they're talking to him about running the charity and basically, not managing money well, these assholes squander our money every day. How the hell are you going to tell someone else they don't know shit about managing finance or anything else when you vote for billions of dollars to go to other countries, millions of dollars to go to fucking the Taliban?
What was the senator's name? I think he was from Arkansas. And he went back after the other senators. Did you see it? That was good. I enjoyed that one. He reminded me of a Trey Gowdy.
I'll tell you what, hell, let's throw it. We're going to look at a couple of different clips real quick. This was, or is that the clip or is that the whole thing? Oh no, this is a clip. So we're gonna watch this real fast. If you saw this last night or today and this didn't make you sick to your fucking stomach, nothing will.
People impacted by these fires are going to receive one-time payment of $770, one-time payment, so they can quickly purchase things like water, baby formula, and prescriptions. So far, nearly 6,000 survivors have registered to do just that, and $5.1 million has gone out. And I encourage everyone who has been impacted to get assistance. Go to disasterassistance.gov or call 1-800-621-3362. Let me repeat that number. 1-800.
So yeah, you just lost your entire livelihood, everything in your house. And again, it's the same thing with the hurricane victims. We're going to give you a one-time payment of $770 if you can even register for it, because you might have saved your phone. Oh,
was that AI generated?
No, I wish it was.
I mean, he was talking too clearly and remember the numbers.
Let's see. I'm still trying to figure out who the worst.
Right?
Huh?
You're a shop teacher, right?
Well, I'm a welding teacher.
Shop. That's why I was wondering, like, how can he teach and still listen to that?
Man, I just cranked something up on the side. I'm typically listening to everything on the planet anyway.
I'm assuming the kids can't exactly hear it.
No, man. I'm basically listening. It's basically just like me listening to it off of my phone, which I'm doing anyway, and I just crank up a chat with it.
With the earpiece and everything.
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, you must be in a very conservative town.
Dude, I'll tell you what is, as things go, most of my students, most of my welding guys tend to be extremely, I wouldn't call them conservative, but they're more towards our end of the spectrum. I'll say that.
Yeah.
There's been very few times where I've had someone who's just a straight out loon-tard come through a weld shop. Live life. Hold on. Did I see live life in here? I thought I did. Fluffy came in. What's up, brother Fluffy? Who do you think the worst one was today?
As far as against
like the Democrats trying to, yeah.
The yo-yo with the pink tie from Virginia, I think it was.
Oh, which one is that?
That's it, Kane.
Ooh, hold on.
Tim Kaine. And the dude from Arkansas was getting right back on to his butt. See, I'm afraid to do anything on my phone to find it.
Kane was the worst.
That's why I think Kane was worse. Well, I said, if
Yeah,
you can
worse than
find
I
that
played
clip,
just a second ago.
if you can find the clip of the dude, the senator from, I think it was Arkansas. So I think is where he was from. It was toward the end of the thing, I think. It was right after Kane done his little crap. And he got back on Kane's butt and told him how qualified he was to be a senator, how all of them were qualified to be a senator. You know, if you're going to sit there and do that crap. What back door did you find?
See what I can.
That just don't sound good. Whose back door?
Hold on.
Oh, he must
There
be.
he is.
This back door.
There he is. Okay.
Oh, damn.
I was beginning to wonder.
Right now, my back door.
Yeah. So who are we on with, Coop?
Tread.
Yeah, just me, you, and Tread.
Okay, it's Tread. All right.
I said I can't think of the senator from Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm trying to look and see.
I think it's always a B. Yeah, he didn't even buy Coop dinner, did he?
No.
No. See, he didn't buy Coop dinner. He didn't even give him the reach around. It's just raw deal, I can tell you.
Well, you know, if you're going to do it, you might as well just go raw.
Ooh.
John Kennedy. This might be the one you're talking about. Or is it?
Well, no. I know of a representative or senator that's named Kennedy, but he's pro-gun. He's not anti.
Yeah, this is clip. Yeah, you got Kennedy from Louisiana. There's a couple of Kennedys up there. This is a Kennedy from Arkansas.
How about that one in the back chat?
Oh, Arkansas. Okay.
Mullins.
Oh, Mullins was another good one.
Yeah.
That's the one I was talking about. He's the one from Arkansas. He's the one that got on the Kane's butt about being qualified and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was another good one. So we'll share this tab.
Or not.
You're not sharing anything.
Yeah, I know. I'm a retard. Give me a sec.
We know.
All right, the
we
wrong
know.
layout up.
We are fully aware.
I had the wrong layout up. Jesus Christ, you bunch of dopey bastards. Take me and fucking have pity on the retard.
No, because then you won't learn nothing.
I am just sitting here eating my pudding.
To step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No, but it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke. I mean, it is so ridiculous that you guys hold yourself as this higher standard and you forget you got a big plank in your eye. We've all made mistakes. I've made mistakes. And Jennifer, thank you for loving him through that mistake. Because the only reason why I'm here and not in prison is because my wife loved me too.
Chessboard, my brother.
I have changed, but I'm not perfect.
Chessboard, my brother. I just saw your email, man. I emailed you back a little bit ago. Thank you so much. I mean that. Thank you so much.
But I found somebody that thought I was perfect. And for whatever reason, you love Pete, and I don't know why. But just like our Lord and Savior forgave me, my wife's had to forgive me more than once too, and I'm sure you've had to forgive him too. And so thank you.
All right. Let me look up something real quick. I'm going to get back to that, but let me look up.
I'd like to submit for the
Because let me find the term I can search this for. Would kind of fence it there. I have to find the numbers, but it's pretty much, man, every year Congress, that's reps, that's senators, all the staff, they spend millions of dollars in
waste
NDA,
people's
non-disclosure agreements. Yeah, to settle things like sexual harassment and sexual assault lawsuits. Every year, just about. Or it may not be $1 million a year and it adds up, but either way, they're settling NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, for sexual assault and sexual harassment constantly. So here's my little happy idea. I want to see every NDA from anybody actively in Congress right now. There have been FOIA requests for it, and somehow they fight those FOIA requests tooth and nail, trying not to let that information get out. And I don't give a shit whether it's a Democrat or whether it's a Republican. Put that information out there.
And you don't ever see it advertised on the network TVs either, or even Fox or nothing.
No, brother, you ain't about to see that. You're not even about to get close to it. Damn, is that thing really that fucking long today? It doesn't seem that long.
Pretty good while.
It was a while. I mean, I'm busy teaching. I'll be doing my thing, writing stuff on the board and jamming, talking to students with this playing in the background. So there's stuff that I miss, obviously. And there are some days my students think I fucking absolutely have Tourette's.
You do.
Well, I kind of do.
I know you do. I know you.
Yeah. Hey, look, you can't, when you suffer, it's a condition, damn it.
Well, all I know is your wife likes my wood.
She does.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Live on air, too.
Hey, G.
Hold on. Let me share this one, because this should be like some of the and I don't think this was the first interruption.
Their future safety and security is in all of our hands. SEALs, Green Berets, soldiers, pilots, sailors, Marines, Gold Stars, and more. Too many friends to name. Officers, enlisted, black and white, young and old, men and women, all Americans, all warriors. This hearing is for you.
You are a misogynist. Not only that, you are a Christian Zionist.
I want to thank the authorities.
Yeah, he looks
for
balanced.
Swift reaction to the and state that similar interruptions will be treated in like manner. Mr. Hegseth, you may continue.
Well, as I'll say again, thank you for figuratively and literally Donald Trump's nominee for the office of Secretary of Defense. 2 months ago, 77 million Americans gave President Trump a powerful mandate for change, to put America first, at home and abroad. I want to thank President Trump for his faith in me and his selfless leadership for our republic. The troops have no better commander-in-chief than Donald Trump. As I've said to many of you in private meetings, when President Trump chose me for this position, the primary charge he gave me was to bring the warrior culture back to the Department of Defense. He, like me, wants a Pentagon laser-focused on lethality, meritocracy, warfighting, accountability, and readiness.
Yeah, and this is just minutes, and this is just part of his opening statement.
You may continue, sir.
Returning the Pentagon back to warfighting.
Okay, Brother Chess, I'll
That's
check it in a second.
That's my job.
Mr. Hegseth, suspend your remarks. Let me just say this. The Capitol Police are going to remove immediately individuals that are disrupting the hearing. I see a pattern attempted to
block.
Yeah, well,
be
they're
inflicted on the
interrupting
committee, and
a
we're simply
congressional
not going to
hearing.
tolerate that. You may proceed.
To bring back warfighting, if confirmed, I'm going to work with President Trump and this committee to, one, restore the warrior ethos to the Pentagon and throughout
Should
our
be
fighting
another
force.
interruption happening
In doing
pretty
so,
quick
we will
right here.
reestablish trust in our military.
By the way, that Wicker
Addressing
guy,
the recruiting
he's a
crisis, the
Republican.
retention crisis, and readiness
Yep.
crisis in our
There it
ranks.
Members of the security force will remove.
Damn, they toting him out like a log. I didn't get to see that earlier.
Mr. Hegseth, you.
they picked that dude up and just toted him. I didn't get to see it.
I missed
They're
that
like-
myself.
They're like, picked him up and yoink, you're out of here.
Yep.
I hope
You're out.
I hope they threw him off the stairs too.
Yeah, well, I hope they dropped him a couple times, but
On his head. Oh wait, no,
Yeah.
the doctor did that when he was born.
a lot. The
There
doctor
is-
didn't just pat his ass when he came out. He punched him in the face.
There is brain damage, I can assure you.
Lots of it.
Mm-hmm.
Lots and lots and lots.
In lots.
Yeah. Don't forget the lots.
Did we mention the lots?
Not enough.
Not enough. No.
Did you know?
Oh, don't even start that. Do not even start that. I had to go to jury duty, the month before last, and that woman was there.
You told me about that. That is absolutely hysterical.
It's like the judge is like, if anybody has anything personal against her, please step up. And it's like, I'm going, no, because if I didn't step up, because I would have been would have made me look petty and vindictive. But I don't believe a word that woman says.
You should have
I'm
stood
pretty
up.
cool with looking petty and vindictive every once in a while.
If you're like me, I don't give a shit what
Here's-
they think about me.
Have this as well.
Here's one of the ones I thought was, well, they were all horrible today. And maybe it's just because I was doing other things and I didn't get to hear some of the others. And Maisie just hung out and kind of stuck. But damn. This whole idea, women in combat, okay? Here's my take on it. you have a very high standard. If women can meet that standard, I don't like
Great.
it, but okay. Rock and roll with your bad self. You just know that you're opening yourself up to a whole lot of shit. Because these people will brutalize you in ways that are unspeakable. And you got a couple more holes to do things too. And something like that happen to a woman is just has a lot more of an impact. But you have to meet the standard. If the
I don't think any
guy
woman
is
should be
expected,
there.
I don't think they should, but the
I
thing
don't
is,
think any woman, I don't care if they can meet the standards, I don't think they should be in combat with men because it weakens the men. It's no different than they capture the woman. Are you going to let them rape the woman and all that kind of crap? If they capture me and you, they start beating on you and torturing you, I'm still good. You signed up for this, we both did.
So
But if there's a
Trey
woman
just basically
involved,
told the whole.
so the woman's
Trey just
involved,
basically
I'm not
told-
going to take it where they're going to beat up on a woman or whatever.
So Trey just told all y'all guys, man, if I got my ass whipped right in prison and stuff, Trey wouldn't care.
You signed up for it. I know they did too. The women did too. But it's a whole different thing. It's like I wouldn't want my mother in the middle of combat, or my
No,
sister,
man,
which I don't have a sister. But I mean, if I did have a sister, I wouldn't want her in the middle of combat either. I would treat her differently and be more protective over them versus a guy, which
think
makes you weaker.
I think there are roles in the armed services that women can perform. I don't think they should be frontline troops.
I agree.
Now, if again, getting back to what I was going to say though, if you have a standard for men where that man has to do 25 pull-ups in full kit, battle rattle, whole 9 yards, then the woman should have to do the same thing. Period. End of story. This is the standard. The standard. There is no he does 25 and you get to do 20, or he does 25 and you get to do 15. There's a standard. If you don't meet the standard, you're just out. Period.
Or he has to do 25 push-ups and you got to do 25 girly push-ups.
Yeah. No, there should be a single standard regardless of sex. A single standard. Period. Especially we're talking frontline combat troops. A single standard. If you are a female pilot, a single standard. Whether you're flying a helicopter, whether you're flying fixed wing, whether you're flying AWACS, fixed set that you have, or fixed, median you have to meet. And if you don't, you just don't.
I said, I don't have a problem with a woman being a pilot or whatever. I just don't think she should be frontline on the ground, hand-to-hand type crap.
Mm-hmm.
No, there are, regardless of what these assholes say, there are a lot of physical differences in between men and women. Period. And when you get down, you can get into a lot of psychological end of things. There's big differences in that too. Men can really rationalize a hell of a lot of really fucked up violence and be okay. Women, not so much. And if you are fighting a war to win a war, there is going to be a bunch of really fucked up violence. Sec Dev should be an E4. Fuck yeah, Abby. It is. Most of the people that get into a role like this have typically been political officers their entire career. If they went overseas to an engagement, what they did was they went over, they sat their ass on a fob somewhere. They weren't out there kicking doors themselves and going through this. These days.
They were sitting back at the camp.
There were officers, even up to, I think, general in World War II, that were out there on the fucking front line pulling triggers. If you've never watched grunt style bedtime stories, he had a couple, and it's all Medal of Valor, Medal of Honor winners. And and he did a couple that were officers in World War II, and those guys, they weren't hanging in the rear with a gear, baby. They was up there out front. Now, if you got a guy like that, yeah, I could see him becoming Secretary of Defense. He's been there. He knows what the cost of war is. Some of the women, yeah. Chess. No, they don't. They never have. They never will.
Nope.
Now, Tammy Duckworth, I'd have to look at her whole story. She's the one, I think she lost both legs due to a combat injury. I can't remember whether she was a pilot or what. I really can't remember.
I think so.
But getting back to it, what Pete Hegseth was talking was front line ground pounding troops. And he has distilled that thought out plenty of times. He's talking about the ones kicking doors, the ones digging foxholes, the one rushing enemy positions, the ones who are actually in there in the thick of shit. Because see, I could see a woman pilot, I could see a woman drone pilot. You know, a lot of medical work.
Hegseth should have stood his ground, and when they were talking about his, I think it was Pocahontas was talking about his book and how he's talking about
we'll
women
watch her
in
too.
combat and stuff like that. That I think he should have said, I do not agree with it. You know, he should have owned up to it.
Wait. They let Elizabeth Warren speak?
Oh, yeah. She's part of the fucking Armed Services Committee, baby.
But she's Hiawatha.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Here, let's throw on freaking.
She's Liz, last of the Mohicans.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, let's watch. I don't need two shoes anymore.
Mohicans.
Last of the Mohicans.
FAUX.
Mr. Hegseth, this hearing is about whether you are qualified to be Secretary of Defense, and one of the confirmed by the United States Senate. And you need to convince us that you're worthy of that vote, because the people of the state of Illinois voted for me to be their senator so that I could cast that vote when it comes to picking who is going to be the next Secretary of Defense. This hearing now seems to be a hearing about whether or not women are qualified to serve in combat, and not about whether or not you are qualified to be Secretary of Defense. And let me just say that the American people need a SecDef who's ready to lead on day one. You are not that person. Our adversaries watch closely during times of transition, and any sense that the Department of Defense that keeps us safe is being steered by someone who's wholly unprepared for the job puts America at risk, and I am not willing to do that. With that in mind, Mr. Hegseth, I want you to try to explain to the American people, this committee, who have to vote for you, and to our troops who are deployed around the world, why you are qualified to lead the Department of Defense. We already know that you've only led the largest, a 200-person organization. We already know that you so badly mangled a budget that after you left, they had to bring in a forensic accountant to figure out what went wrong. And that the largest budget you ever managed was about $18 billion. You know, that is about 51,560 times fewer,
this lady said
lower than the Department of Defense budget of $825 billion. $16 million is 51,568 times smaller than the defense budget.
No,
Please
she is a
describe to me, Mr.
hardcore
Hegseth, you
leftist
talk
Democrat.
about DOD passing an audit. Please describe to me a time or an organization when you led underwent an audit.
she
You
is a
say you're going to
Democrat.
hire smarter people than you to run this audit.
Yes.
I'm not asking you to be an accountant. I
Fun
want you.
fact. Mazie Hirono was the one that thought we were going to build a train bridge from the United States to Hawaii.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
She was completely okay with shutting every fucking plane in the sky down that runs off of fossil fuel because we could build a high-speed train to Hawaii.
I'm not saying we can't. It's an expensive endeavor, though.
I'm saying it would cost a whole lot more than flying that little plane over there.
I agree.
Would.
Alcohol.
Yeah,
Well,
Sam, dude.
I just want to know what she's drinking so I can get some of that.
I
don't know if I want any of that.
I don't know whether I want any of that.
Not if it turns you left.
Sam, there are a lot of women that have been in, I won't say like direct combat roles because they're not really in direct combat roles now, but women who have been involved in combat situations, and again, this is talking about the ground, we can talk about the air shit later, that are badass. I mean, no doubt they are badass. But is that, even if you built her up to a 175-pound woman, is she going to drag a 210-pound guy with all of his kit and gear and be able to maneuver him? No, it's not happening. That's why you don't see women fucking transitioning and going into men's MMA and ruling the day. You do, however, see a guy who ain't worth a fuck go to women's MMA and break a bitch's eye socket.
Out of
And
curiosity,
it takes a lot to fracture your fucking eye socket, your orbital bones.
what did Tulsi do?
I'd have to look and see what Tulsi did.
Was she helicopter pilot or something?
I don't know. I really don't.
Because I know she said she went to Afghanistan, done a couple of tours or something.
I think she went over, but I don't know what role she was in. She wasn't frontline kicking doors. I know that.
That's why I wasn't sure what she did.
Yeah. Phil, what's up, brother man? Phil, you recovering from the hockey game last night?
You to be able to tell me what kind of guidance will be given to those employees, what will happen if, whether or not you pass that audit. Have you led an audit of any organization? Yes or no? I don't want a long answer. Yes or no? Have you led an audit of any organization of which you were in charge?
Senator, in both of the organizations I ran, we were always completely fiscally
You need an audit.
And the way
yes
my
or
leadership
no,
has
did you need
been-
an audit?
I'm
My
loving the
connection
internet.
was going a little screwy for a second. But did she?
Yes or
Did
no?
she just have her "you can't handle the truth" moment?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
Yes
so.
or no, damn it.
This answer?
Senator, every
Yes or
part
no?
of my leadership
Yes
of these
or no?
organizations
Yes
has
or
been
no? Did you lead an audit?
misrepresented
I will
from
take
top
that
to
as a
bottom.
no. What were the findings? Though there were no findings because you've never led an audit. What guidance did you give the auditors?
Chess
None,
posted
because
the
you've
link.
never
Thank
led
you,
an
brother
audit.
Chess.
Nobody expects you to be an accountant, Mr. Hegseth. What we expect is for you to understand the complexity of this Pentagon budget process that is absolutely necessary to outfit our warfighters. Look, the Secretary of Defense is required to make quick decisions every single day that, well, with high-level information that's being provided for them. A Secretary of Defense has to have breadth and depth of knowledge. Right now, I am concerned that you have neither. Mr. Hegseth, what is the highest level of international negotiations that you have engaged in, that you have led in? Because the Secretary of Defense does lead international security negotiations. There are three main ones that the Secretary of Defense.
Now, she gets into the international negotiation part. She mentions the most obscure motherfuckers on this goddamn planet. That if you don't have a bound book with everything in it at the time, you're not going to remember it. Tulsi was with, hey, mammy. Hey, you guys say it. You guys say hi to Betty in the chat. That's the mammy. That's the gray hair.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that is my mama. So I might have to watch my mouth for a little bit. Maybe.
Defense leads and signs. Can you name at least one of them?
Could you repeat the question, Senator?
Sure. What is the
Mike
highest level of
McClung.
international security agreement that you have led? And can you name some that the Secretary of Defense would lead? There's three main ones.
I have not been involved in international security arrangements because I have not been in government other than serving in the military. So my job has been to
No. The answer
Yeah,
is,
you
can you
do.
name one of the three main ones that the
You're
Secretary
talking
of
about
Defense
defense arrangements. NATO might be one that you're referring to. status of forces agreements.
But you don't
inside
remember to
Afghanistan.
mention it? You're not qualified, Mr.
Oh, God, here
Hegseth.
my connection goes again.
You're not qualified. You talk about repairing our defense industrial complex. You're not qualified to that. You
Oh,
could do
that's
acquisition and
Josh.
cross-servicing
Looking at it
agreements, which essentially are security agreements. You can't
Technically,
even
she's not
mention that.
qualified
You've
to be
done
a
none of those.
senator, but
You
well,
talked about
you
the
know,
Indo-Pacific
here
a
she
little
is.
bit, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. Can you name
Yes.
the importance of at least one of the nations in the ASEAN, and what type of agreement we have with at least one of those nations? And how many nations are in ASEAN, by the way?
I couldn't tell you the exact
No, you
amount of
couldn't,
nations
because
in
you've
that,
not
but I
even
know we have
bothered to
allies
do-
in South Korea and Japan and in AUKUS with Australia, trying to work
Okay.
on submarines with them.
Mr.
and data
Hegseth,
transfers
none
with
of those
them.
countries
We
are
have
in
allies
ASEAN.
across.
None of those three countries that you've mentioned are in ASEAN. I suggest you do a little homework before you prepare for these types of negotiations. Listen, Mr. Hegseth.
Someone
this
shut
is-
her up.
We ask
I
our
wish.
troops to go into harm's way all
But you know,
the time.
did you know that?
We ask them to go into harm's way. And this
Have you
behind
heard
me
that?
is Creed, a copy that usually hangs over my desk here in the Senate. And you should be familiar with it. It's the same copy that hung over my desk at Walter Reed every single day that I woke up and fought my way back because I wanted to go back and serve next to my buddies who'd saved my life. This same copy, these words, I repeated over and over and over again. And let
I
me
bet
read out
they're wishing
two
they hadn't
things to
saved her
you,
life
two
now.
sentences. I will always place the mission first, and I am
Probably.
disciplined, physically and mentally tough.
'Cause I know
trained
we
and
are.
proficient in my warrior task. Mr. Hegseth, our troops follow these
Yeah, they
words
could
every
have. They could
single
have taken
day.
a nap
And
that
they
day or a
man up
coffee
and they
break.
pack their
They
rucksacks
could
and they
have
go to
done
war.
us a
And
solid
they
and
deserve a
not
leader
save her.
who can lead them, not a leader
Yeah.
who wants to lower the standards for himself or raising the standards for other people. And by the way, our troops already meet the standards. We ask troops to man that ship, fight that fire, fly that helicopter until their very last breath. And they do that every single day. They cannot be led by someone who's not competent to do the job. How can we ask these warriors to train and perform the absolute highest standards?
Okay, again, and Chess posted the link in the chat if you guys want to go look at it. Her talking about someone being competent for a job when she thought we could build a train to Hawaii. I am more than dubious of her IQ. Never mind all the other hearings I've watched. her
What
in.
IQ?
It's like Hank Johnson thinking the island of Guam was going to tip over if we put more Marines in it.
Hey, he might have been onto something there.
Just saying.
He might have been onto something.
And then they try to, Hank Johnson tried to play it off with something else. And it was like, oh, God, no. Muffin Top, what's up, brother, man? Hey, Muffin Top, say hi to Betty Cooper. That's my actual mama. Although, well, maybe she claims to me every once in a while in the chat.
She claims to be. We're not quite sure.
She may have found me on a doorstep somewhere.
I can believe. I just wonder why she didn't label you return to sender.
She did. I couldn't fit in the mailbox.
Ooh.
When
That's
you
right.
are asking us to lower the standards to make you the Secretary of Defense simply because you are buddies with our president-elect. And by the way, he has filed for bankruptcy 6 times. I'm not quite sure he's the kind of CEO you want to refer to as a successful businessman.
I don't
Let
think
me
we
make it
want you
clear.
in the government, so shut up.
You can't seem to grasp that there is no U.S. military as we know it without the incredible women that we serve. Women who've earned their place.
Yeah.
Can we just fast forward?
If you guys didn't watch this earlier today, it is absolutely amazing to see these senators. Now, Pete Hegseth with the nonprofit, and it gets mentioned. I have to go look. Gets mentioned by one of the Republican senators that it was right around 2008 when the crash hit that the donations to the foundation just fell through the floor. And he wrote a letter, and it's mentioned in the hearing, that Pete did a good job getting everything back on track, saving the organization, and really went on about Pete. And these people talking about mismanaging money. Are you kidding me? And then, like what we watched earlier, Joe Biden, we're going to give $770 to everybody and whatever. And he'll turn around in the next couple days and sign some shit that sends a couple of $1 billion to Ukraine.
Yeah, give billions of dollars to Ukraine.
Billion.
But the Americans only get, $770 in Los Angeles. That's gonna fucking help.
Yeah. Hey,
What was
Tactical,
that
jump in if
senator's
you want,
name?
brother. Links up in the chat.
What was that senator's name?
Which one?
The one that was speaking.
Duckworth.
Maisie Hirono.
No, that was
Or was
Duckworth.
that Dave Duckworth? You got me. That was Duckworth. I was hung up on Maisie for some reason, but yeah, that's Duckworth. Tammy Duckworth. Maybe it's because of freaking man. It just I can't take many more hits to my IQ.
Wow.
That one brain cell is damn limping along as it is, and then I watch stuff like this.
Don't get me started. I can make jokes.
Hey, you can make all the jokes you want. You've dealt with me on IT issues. You know I'm a fucking chimpanzee.
Oh my God.
She was a lieutenant colonel.
National Guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was one of the nasty girls. And
Born in Thailand.
how did she get injured in the first place?
That's what I was wondering. That's
I
what
hope it
trying to
was an
find
IED.
out.
If I start looking too much stuff up, my computer's going to go nuts. But I got to look it up one day to see the whole.
Her Black Hawk helicopter was hit by a rocket-propelled grenade. Fired by Iraqi insurgents.
Yeah, that's what we said earlier. We thought she was a chopper pilot, which I can commend her service. She was out there doing her thing.
Yeah.
I can. But I can't freaking give you a pass for all the stupid shit you've done since you've been in government.
Or the stupid shit you're saying right now.
Yeah. It's like, and I think I used part of the example the other night. If a serial killer's out there and he's taking out a bunch of kid things that do stuff to kiddos, more props to you. Hey, you're doing the world a favor. However, if you turn around and go kill an innocent family, you're no longer on the, hey, good boy list. And it's like that with a lot of people, the bro vets and everything that serve, where, yeah, you did a whole lot of good shit. You really did. You put your ass on the line. And then when you come over here like Tim Kennedy and you talk about restrictions on firearms or something for the American people, no, at that point you can get fucked. Hardcore all the way, you can eat it. Jess, thank you, my brother. Thanks, Mammy, for advertising that. Which I didn't even think about it till the other day. But it's kind of like we talk about the ATF all the time.
I already
ATF
sent Cooper a
actually,
birthday present and a Christmas present. He's fine.
Shit, yeah, you did. Thank you, brother. But the ATF will take some violent people off the street every once in a while. That's great. Put those criminals in prison, keep them there.
Yeah.
But when you break into Brian Malinowski's home and you shoot him in the face at 6 o'clock in the morning, that pretty much wipes out everything that you did. I have kind of the reverse of that. I've been a good person mainly for the most of my life. I had one time where I fucked up and did some stupid shit and went to prison. And there are a lot of people that are going to look at me like that's all that I'm worth. Right here. Thank you, Mike McClune. Happy I was not. Live life, my brother. Thank you. Anyway, I'll tell you what, guys. I am going to end this one here. Wife and kiddos are home. Let me jump out of here. I'll probably see you guys in chats in a little bit. And we'll keep hanging out and shooting the breeze. Night Strike, I got to look into Steam because I haven't messed with it yet.
Well, we'll talk off air.
Yeah, because the only thing I've ever used has been Xbox Live to actually get online and play with people.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you're the
I'll
tech-
talk with it.
Yeah, you're the tech. Well, you're the tech wizard. I'm the not tech, whatever. So anyway, all you perfectly cool. We're gonna jump out of here. I love all you guys to death. Be safe. Keep that thing on you at all times.
Shall not be infringed.
There we go. I knew it was coming. Hold on. We gotta do one more thing. We gotta do one more thing before we jump. Show them.
Video of it.
If you
show us.
No, my phone's so freaking stupid. I can't do it. She got
She
to
can't hear us
shoot a
because we're in
desert.
your ear anyway.
She got to shoot a desert eagle today.
Sorry, it's hard to see. I can't figure out the
What
light.
caliber?
Very difficult. There we go.
What caliber was it, baby?
44 mag.
44 mag.
Oh, that's the best one.
Nah, that's the 50A.
Nah, I'm a 44 lover.
If I was going to get one, it would be in 50 AE. It would have to be.
Well, no one's
But it's
perfect. Yeah, it's Tread.
It's a complete meme gun. I mean, it ain't worth anything except to show off. Hey, I got a deal. I would take it in a hurry.
They're all novelties.
Yeah, I would take it in a hurry. But is it a practical gun?
You wouldn't use it to defend yourself.
If I had
Well, I would if that's what I had.
If that's all you had, that's what you would.
It wouldn't be my go-to.
No.
No, it ain't gonna be my go-to.
I mean, that's like a 500 Smith & Wesson. It wouldn't be my go-to gun, but it would do the job if needed.
Oh yeah, that thing's fucking practically shooting the damn. I can't remember how many grains of projectiles are, but yeah, it's fucking half of an inch.
350 or so.
It's hitting, yeah. But is it gonna be my go-to? Am I EDC in that thing? Oh no.
No, it's a hands gun.
Yeah, if a burglar broke into my house and that was laying next to me, I'm going to be giggling the whole time. I'd finish him off.
It's like the deer that died from a heart attack or whatever from the percussion of the 50 caliber.
Yeah.
Like,
that was
come on through the door.
That's the one that went right in between that doe's ears, practically tearing her scalp in half, and it killed it.
Well, I saw the one went over the back.
PWEDC maybe. Dude, if you can do that, you're wearing diapers for the rest of your life. Just saying. All right, so let me get out of here. Like I said, kiddos and everybody's home. We'll catch you guys in a little bit. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I love all you guys to death.
Later, perps.
Later, perps.